I'm the only member on this board that is a honorably discharged veteran. By characterization, my service is honorable. I have several meritorious service medals, several Army Commendation medals, Expert Infantryman's Badge. I was an infantry officer. And I have a National Defense Service Medal. I take the characterization of my service very seriously. It's evident my DD 214 speaks for it. But I know there's other service members out here that also gave of their time, and I appreciate their service as well. My concern is that there's a discussion that says that we didn't know what the students were protesting about. I have the first-hand knowledge of also being a volunteer coach with the Courtland football team. So I would have been delighted to share with anyone a first-hand account of what was said and what occurred as a result of the kneeling. First of all, our principal and activity director did an excellent job of making sure that all the coaches understood that they could have conversations with the kids about the issue of kneeling, but at no way, in no fashion, will those children's constitutional rights be infringed. They were very clear about it. And because I volunteer as a coach, I've always been a volunteer coach, never received a penny for my service, except for maybe a few T-shirts every year. But I heard firsthand the head coach bring the kids into the end zone and share with him why he intended to stand. He asked another one of the coaches to come up and speak, and he as well encouraged and implored the young men to stand, but to stand for the reasons that America is still the best place going. And then finally, I had a chance to address them, and I shared with them that I intended to stand. I'm a veteran. I have friends that didn't come back home. But I also knew that my friends and we swore to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It said nothing about the flag. It said that we would support and defend the Constitution. So, as much as I detest the Confederate flag and what it stands for, I believe that it stands as a symbol of hate. I believe that it's treasonous. I believe that the Confederate flag was a dividing force in America. Even though I strongly believe that, I believe that the person that's flying it over I-95 has the right to do it. I thought I put myself in harm's way so that they would be able to do that. I'm a Christian. I'm a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I believe that he is the truth, the way, and the life. There's no other way but through him. However, if somebody wants to practice the Muslim religion or not practice religion at all, that's what I fought for. That's their choice. That's what they get to do because they're Americans. I did not agree with the protest, like the other gentleman mentioned, that was going on in Charlottesville with KKK and Nazi sympathizers. But if they peacefully want to assemble, that's what this country has allowed for them to do. And that's what every service member that swore to support and defend the Constitution was calling for and giving their life for. So even though there's things I don't like, I recognize that the principles in which America has been formed is greater than us. Like I told the kids, it's the best thing popping. So that's why I stand, and even though I knew that some of them were kneeling, and I disagreed with it because I felt like they could use other methods to affect change. Lord knows we already have enough awareness. I would like to see some mentorship. I'd like to see some active engagement within the community to make changes in the fundamental lives of everybody that lives and works in this community. But what I wanted them to know is that even though they were kneeling, and I knew they were kneeling, I wasn't paying attention to them. I was looking up at the flag. And the flag was all furled out, getting its flap on. The flag, it reminded me of the fact that it was flapping like that during Vietnam. It was flapping during the Civil Rights Movement. It was flapping during voting rights. It was flapping during desegregation of our schools. And we're worried about kneeling. We're going to be okay. The United States Constitution is the greatest, the forming of that Constitution was the greatest thing that has ever beset American society and life in this world. It says even though we're not perfect, we're working towards perfection. Even though in this country where we have majority rights, there's majority rules, there's minority rights. And so as a board member that actively served in our military, that volunteers his time as a coach, that loves the people of this community, I will never do anything that would interfere with their First Amendment rights to express themselves. Even though I don't like it. Even though I think there may be a better way to do it. Because as an American, that's what I chose to fight for.
After the first game that we were alerted that students had knelt, we were already discussing what would happen if we received contact about it. We had already consulted with our attorneys, all of them, to make sure there wasn't anything that we were not educated on. And the whole board was briefed by Tuesday following that Friday game. We've been on top of this the entire time, knew what the students' rights were, knew what our responsibilities as a board was, and we've been very proactive in this whole matter. On the contrary, there was actions at a previous board that were not as informed. They made statements that were not within our rights as a school board and were encouraging us to do things that we just are not able to do by the law. We've been on top of this, we're educated on this topic, and we've behaved exactly as we should have, and I applaud our board for being on top of things and fully informed this whole time.